Welcome to a special presentation from CCX Sports as we honor our class of 2025 Hall of Fame inductees.
This year's group features 3 standout athletes and a record-setting coach representing Champlin Park, Breck, Maple Grove, and Hopkins.
And we'll get started with one of the best, maybe the best ever prep girls volleyball player to come from this area. She's the first of our 4 new inductees into the 2025 CCX Sports Hall of Fame. She was an elite volleyball player in high school, college, and is still playing today. We welcome 2017 Champlin Park High School graduate Sydney Hilley into the CCX Sports Hall of Fame. Hilley helped the Rebels get to 3 state tournaments in the mid-2010s, after the program hadn't been to St. Paul in 13 years. But she's quick to credit others for the program's rise to prominence.
I mean, volleyball is such a team sport, and without the people around you, you can't do much. It's not like basketball where you could go one-on-one ISO. Like, there's 3 people touching the ball every play. And I had Izzy Ashburn, who's a great setter, making me look good. I had Katie Weimerskirch, like Janae Alderson. Like, I had so many people who made me look good.
She was always working hard. She's always the first one to practice, always working hard. And I actually remember having a conversation with her like, hey, you got to take some rest this weekend. Like, find something that's not volleyball.
A setter at every other level, the Rebels made Sydney an outside hitter, and she thrived.
Ashburn back to Hilley. Trying to go to number 2 as much as they can.
She was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Minnesota in 2015 and 16, and the Star Tribune's Metro Player of the Year both seasons.
I think it really helped me. Like, I never serve received before. I never attacked before. I was doing all these skills that I never had to work on. And then when I went back to college after and set or club and set, like, I had that perspective of what's a good hittable ball for my hitters, and I think it made me excel in my position a little more to have that understanding.
Champlin Park averaged 29 wins per season from 2014 to 2016 and finished as state runner-up to Egan in Hilley's senior year. In both their last 2 seasons, the Rebels outlasted Wayzata in 5 sets to win the Section 5 3A title.
Champlin Park back to state for the 3rd straight year.
It was amazing. Just like crowd so into it, seeing how happy the team was, and just getting that experience my senior year was incredible.
Scott Jackson was one of Sydney's club coaches at Minnesota Select and then coached against her during the high school season at Wayzata.
Honestly, it was awful to coach against her. I think the match we lost to her in the section final in 2016 was probably the match of my career that stings the most still, 15-13 in the 5th, and Sid was at the middle of the play.
Highly recruited out of high school, the 3-time All-State player chose the University of Wisconsin after growing up thinking she would play for Minnesota.
I just remember going to the volleyball games and thinking I want to be there one day, and they were actually my first offer, and I almost took it, but then I started exploring my other options, and once I went to Wisconsin, I absolutely fell in love with it, and I couldn't have made a better decision for myself. I mean, to be a Badger, it completely changed my life in the best way possible.
An All-American every season at Wisconsin, Sydney was the 3-time Big Ten Setter of the Year. The Badgers' career record holder in set assists, Hilley, along with fellow Champlin Park alum Izzy Ashburn, helped Wisconsin win the national championship in 2021.
We had a lot of COVID seniors who were there for that extra year, and a solid group of us were there our entire careers together, and we really just wanted to end it on a high note. And I think once we got into the tournament, you could see how confident we were and our chemistry together, and just how much we loved each other in the game, and I think that's what carried us through.
After playing internationally in both Turkey and Puerto Rico, Sydney is entering her 3rd season of professional volleyball here in the United States, most recently with the Indy Ignite of the Pro Volleyball Federation.
I'm really excited to just be able to continue playing the sport that I love for so long. I didn't think I would have this opportunity.
Then you're going to actually release into the target, hold the finish.
A student of the game, Sydney is now passing that knowledge on to others.
helping the next generation of setters.
Be able to go in and work with young volleyball players and to feel like after our sessions they've gotten better. It's just really cool to see improvement and to inspire some younger athletes and see where they'll go in their careers.
She's a really good coach, and again, it's that thoughtfulness. It's the thoughtfulness of her approach to volleyball excellence that makes her able to reach out and connect with kids.
Sydney isn't sure how long she will continue to play, but has a career waiting for her in the science research field once her volleyball days are over.
Open to me.
So my undergrad was in genetics and then my master's was in biotechnology, and I've always wanted to use science to better people's lives, so it'd be the best of both worlds if I could do something with that and give back in the coaching world.
At age 27, Sydney Hilley still has a long life ahead, but is thankful for everything that volleyball has already given her.
The experiences I've had, like in being able to travel across the country and to different countries and see the world, has been just amazing. I never knew that a sport could take someone this far, and it continues to change my life for the better every single day.
And Jay, Sydney thanks her older brother Alex, her younger sister Sammy, and her parents Mike and Christy for their help and support all the years in volleyball and basketball. Mike was her coach for many years in basketball. She was a really good player. Stopped playing after her freshman year at Champlin Park to concentrate on volleyball. Turned out to be a great decision, right?
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. What an outstanding player she was for the Rebels, and the level of play overall has grown so much in the last decade, and I think she was a big part of that.
No doubt. Straight ahead, a two-sport standout from Maple Grove who is still active as a player in one of his sports.
He comes from a prominent athletic family in Maple Grove and is currently playing professionally in Europe. This two-sport star from Maple Grove High School was part of a great era at the school. He was a two-sport standout at Maple Grove and went on to have a strong college career in the Big Ten. We welcome 2017 Maple Grove graduate Brad Davison to our Hall of Fame.
It's a great honor. It brings back such great memories of high school sports and high school relationships and just all the memories that come with playing high school sports. I think about the people. The wins and losses are great, but really I just think about the people.
Davison was a standout point guard for Maple Grove, earning all-conference honors 4 seasons in a row for the Crimson. He's far and away the school's career scoring leader with 2,300 points and also leads in career assists and steals. Davison has 6 of the top 9 scoring games in Crimson history, topping 40 points 3 times. Skill-wise, he's near the top for anyone in the northwest suburbs, but his coach remembers other things more than Brad's ability.
Number one, he's the ultimate leader. I think we've had, in the time I've been at Maple Grove in basketball, 2 kids who've been voted captain as sophomores, and he was one of them, which is a pretty special thing to be voted by upperclassmen to be a captain of a team. He just brought the positive energy and leadership. And the second thing that I think separated him is he was an ultimate competitor. Hated to lose every day in practice, regardless of what day of the week it was or who we were playing next. Always had the same mindset, same attitude to compete not only against himself but against his opponents.
Though it was his second sport, Davison excelled as a quarterback in Maple Grove's strong football program too. He's the Crimson career leader in passing yards, completions, and touchdown passes. As a senior, Davison earned first-team All-State honors and was Star Tribune Metro Player of the Year after throwing for 2,418 yards and 23 touchdowns and rushing for another 15 scores. Not bad for a basketball kid, huh?
Basketball had my heart at a really young age. I grew up in a basketball family. Both my parents played in college and were coaches growing up, and then both my sisters went on to play Division I basketball at Northern Iowa. So I grew up in the gym. So I loved basketball all the way up. For me, football, I really started to fall in love with it when I got to high school. And I think that's a great credit to Coach Lombardi, who was my coach, and to the upperclassmen that I got to play with when I was a freshman and sophomore.
The best little anecdote I could tell, my dad was a lifetime football coach, and we just played a game, and the game was over, and Brad had a huge game, and he was the star, and he went, and there was one of my managers at the time was struggling with the chains putting the chains away. She was like fumbling them and this and that, and everybody's talking after the game, and Brad on his own with nobody watching went over and helped her and carried all the chains into the thing. And my dad looked at me and goes, that kid is a good kid. He was such a good teammate in the way he went in there, and he had good teammates around him. And I think he liked football because it was kind of his off the radar sport, so it let him, that was kind of his identity in high school. It was a chance for him to get away a little bit.
While many were convinced Davison could be a big-time college quarterback, basketball won out. He headed east to Madison, Wisconsin for a memorable and occasionally notorious 5-year college career.
5 best years of my life were spent at the University of Wisconsin. So many great memories, a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but I truly believe that those hills and valleys made the experience all that it was meant to be. Shaped me into the man I am today, has created me into the basketball player I continue to still be able to play and play at this level. And again, the people.
With an extra COVID year helping his totals, Davison is in the top 10 in career scoring and assists for the Badgers and is their all-time leader in made three-pointers. That helped prepare him for a pro career in Europe. He recently returned to Alicante, Spain for another season.
Growing up, my goal was I always wanted to play college basketball at the highest level, and then I wanted to start my college coaching career. But when I finished playing basketball at the University of Wisconsin, my 5th year, I still had that itch to play, and my body still felt good, and so my wife and I had made the decision to move our family overseas and play basketball together.
Brad's wife, Tyra, is a pro player in Europe as well and is second in career scoring at Indiana. They welcomed a new addition last year.
My life has changed infinitely for the better ever since we welcomed Maya Marie into the world with us. She is the biggest light that we could ever imagine.
Davison doesn't plan to play too many more years, but will stay in basketball.
Even though I've really enjoyed playing basketball overseas and hope to continue my professional basketball career, I've never felt more clear and have more clarity and certainty that I want to get into college basketball coaching the world.
Seems likely one of our newest Hall of Famers, Brad Davison, will succeed at coaching too.
John, I kidded Brad that he may be the only basketball Hall of Famer we have who would have a tough time beating his wife and sisters in a game of horse.
What a terrific athletic family, right? And you mentioned in the story how good he was in football and could have played at a higher level, definitely in that sport, but chose basketball and it turned out to be a great choice for him. Our Hall of Fame show continues in a moment with a gridiron great for Breck. 22 years ago this fall, the Breck Mustangs fielded their best football team in program history, and one that would rival some of the finest in state history. 2 players from that team, Liam O'Hagan and Blake Wheeler, are already in our Hall of Fame. Now comes the 3rd former player from the 2003 Mustangs to join our Hall.
He was part of a dynamic state championship football program in the early 2000s. We welcome 2004 Breck School graduate Brandon Robinson into the CCX Sports Hall of Fame. Robinson started his athletic career at Breck as an 8th grader playing soccer, but by 10th grade had switched to football, a sport that more of his close friends played.
It was just fun, it was very competitive all the time, and they're still my closest friend.
In the fall of 2002, Breck finished with a 10-2 record, but suffered a painful loss at home to Kingsland in the state quarterfinals on a cold November night in Golden Valley.
That was a game where, we as a team got together and were like, we're never going to feel like this again.
Indeed, that loss motivated the junior heavy team for the next season. And in 2003, Breck steamrolled everyone. On the way to a 14-0 record, the Mustangs scored at least 34 points in a game 13 times, with every win coming by 16 or more points. Breck Activities Director Brett Burgundy was on the coaching staff at the time.
An amazing group of kids that not only had outstanding athleticism, but a commitment to the work ethic, and the competition. They competed against each other every day in practice, and that just led out to the field where they got to really shine.
Coaching was great. I think it was very different than, I think other high school programs where, we ran what would be pretty much like a college type of pro type of offense. It was plays called. I don't know that there were many schools doing 3 and 4 wide with the tight end, really throwing the ball.
For a small school, the 2003 Mustangs had an amazing collection of talent, especially at the skill positions, including Liam O'Hagan, a later quarterback Harvard, wide receiver TJ Thiel, a Naval Academy recruit, and big tight end Blake Wheeler, who just this summer retired following a 16-year career in the National Hockey League.
We would never have the line like, you know, Eden Prairie, Edina, but from a skilled position, I think we were skillfully better than any team that year.
But Robinson had arguably the best year of all of them. The senior rarely came off the field, playing wide receiver, cornerback, punt and kick returner, and was an outstanding place kicker. Brandon caught 82 passes from O'Hagan that fall for over 1,500 yards and 27 touchdowns. Add in the TDs scored elsewhere on the field, and the numbers racked up from field goals and extra points. And Robinson finished the year with an incredible 241 points scored.
It was fun, you know, and that's what I loved about, you know, being here is you can play every position. You know, it was fun. We didn't have 100 people come out for the team, but it was a ton of fun.
You know, that athleticism combined with his competitiveness and that desire to work every single play really helped him shine.
The Mustangs got their revenge on 2002 Folk Kingsland in the Prep Bowl, routing the Knights 51-14. From there, it was on to the collegiate ranks, and Brandon chose Boston College.
My parents, you know, instilled in me academics, and coming from Breck, a very, you know, strong academic school, I wanted to play the best football and have the best academics. And BC was a great and is known for academics, but this was also, 2004 was the first year the program moved into the ACC.
At BC, Robinson was paired for much of his career with another great quarterback, Matt Ryan, who would go on to play in the National Football League for 15 years. Robinson's junior season, with senior QB Ryan at the helm, was one of the best in school history.
That 2007 season was just lights out. You know, we went down to Blacksburg and beat Virginia Tech down there in a crazy overtime game, and that brought us, I think, to 2 in the country, and we were 2 in the country for a couple weeks, and that was, you know, to be a college football player and be 2 in the country is a pretty cool thing to say.
With a master's degree in science, Brandon is now in the medical device sales field, and since 2018 has worked for Abbott Laboratories. Brandon has no doubt the lessons learned in athletics have translated to work and life.
100%. I mean, you know, you need to know how to work with people. You got to be able to troubleshoot on the go pretty quickly, and I mean, I learned that all from sports.
Jay, I mentioned he played soccer at Breck. He also played basketball, was in track and field and tennis for a time. So a multi-sport guy, and really believes in that multi-sport athlete. He's got 2 young kids now, married, lives out in Boston. He just moved from Minneapolis out to Boston where he has his job and really is doing well.
What a great athlete, all-around athlete, and boy, they had some weapons on that Breck team. Looking back at that footage, it's like, wow, especially for a smaller school, how outstanding they were. Stay tuned, the Hall of Fame special continues with a look at a great coach from the area up next. The northwest suburbs have been a hotbed for basketball, girls and boys. We've also had some fantastic coaches in the area. That includes a new member of the class of 2025. He ranks among the best high school basketball coaches Minnesota's ever seen. We welcome former Hopkins girls basketball coach Brian Cosgriff to the CCX Sports Hall of Fame.
I almost started crying. I'm not kidding you. I was very emotional about it. And I've been watching CCX for my entire adult life. You start reminiscing about all the wonderful players you've been able to coach, and like great assistants I've had, and just such wonderful memories. And then, you know, to be part of something like the CCX Hall of Fame, it's truly special. I was very touched and moved.
Cosgriff moved from being a boys' assistant at Hopkins to taking over the girls' program in 2000, carrying the intense style to the next court over.
Having been with Coach Novak for 9 years, I just took what I learned from him and brought it over to the other side. I wasn't as cerebral as him. He's very much into the mental aspect of everything, but he practiced long. And he was very detail oriented. And so I brought that over to the girls' side, and I put my little flair on it with intensity.
Cosgriff and company quickly built the Royals from a solid program to an elite one. After a pair of third-place finishes at the state tournament, Hopkins broke through to win the first of 7 championships under Cosgriff in 2004. They won 3 in a row from 2011 through 2013. All of those championships are special, but Brian came to realize they're only part of the picture.
It's cool to win a championship, but yet this is about relationships and this is about the journey. You can really have an impact on kids positively and negatively based on, how you interact with them on a daily basis.
All of the success and a lot of transfers didn't make Hopkins the most popular program around at times. Cosgriff felt that sentiment.
We got hit with the recruiting label and all that sort of thing, and I wouldn't even know how to do that. It was one of those things that we were the place that a lot of people wanted to go. It was a great facility, and we had wonderful tradition on both boys and girls' side.
Cosgriff won 631 games, which stands 9th all-time for Minnesota girls basketball coaches, with 8 state titles in all, 19 conference titles, and 15 state appearances. While he stayed a driven coach, Brian acknowledges he did mellow.
As years went on, I think I lightened up quite a bit, and I think that could be because I've matured and because I've gotten old. And there's some things that happen in your life that you kind of go, maybe this isn't as important as we make it. Having lost my brother and my sister and my mom and dad, and you kind of go, well, this is just a game.
Cosgriff had some outstanding players along the way, like Leslie Knight, Nia Coffey, Nia Hawley, Maya Nagy, and more. But none have matched the hype surrounding current WNBA rookie sensation Paige Beckers, who talked about playing for Cosgriff in this interview in her senior season at Hopkins.
No, he's done so much for me, and he cares for me on and off the court, and he's made me a better player. Me and him can talk about basketball all day long.
It's actually pretty cool to see how popular she is. I knew she was going to be good. I knew she was going to be great.
Cosgriff's story didn't end with his resignation at Hopkins after the 2020 season that was halted by COVID during the state tournament, with the unbeaten Royals unable to play for a likely championship. After assisting at Providence Academy, he took the head coaching spot at one of Hopkins' biggest rivals, Minnetonka. He coached the Skippers for 3 seasons, adding an 8th state title. Going to Tonka wasn't popular with everyone at Hopkins, but Brian Cosgriff has no regrets about the final chapter of his legendary career.
I'm not sure people understood why I took it at at Hopkins for Minnetonka, but if they understood the circumstances and they were in the same situation, they would probably do the same. And Hopkins will always be my first love, no question about it. I love my time there. I love the kids that I coached. I love teaching there. Part of me will always be a Royal, but part of me will be a Skipper too, because I loved being part of that community for 3 years and the opportunity they gave, a 60-year-old coach.
John, what an intense but outstanding coach Cosgriff is, and he's done some work with us and hopefully will again.
Yeah, it's been great to get to know him over the last, 25, 30 years that we've known Brian, and congratulations on another Hall of Fame for him. Well, that will put a wrap on this CCX Hall of Fame show here.
Thanks to CCX staffers David Dobrin and Chaz Moots for their hard work in making this a special show.
Congratulations to another special class of Hall of Famers and their families. We enjoyed covering your marvelous careers. And thanks to you for watching.